My dear friends, we have to talk about the Acolyte because following my last update, there have been some more developments. We now know the runtimes for the final 2 episodes, and we have a major tease from some of the actors. But first, a theory I'm dying to share with you. I think I've kind of worked out what the show's about, but before we go any further, I really need your help. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. We're trying to grow this community, and we would be honoured if you would join us. I appreciate you so much. With this channel, you get daily Star Wars videos, all the latest news, theories, and speculation. I promise you, you'll have a lot of fun. But no more jibber jabber. Shall we begin? Boom, let's do it. Something nobody seems to be talking about is how a tiny detail from the very first episode of the show could be the biggest clue to working out where the show is headed. Do you guys remember how Osha was working for the Neimoidians? Well, something to note is that the Neimoidians never revealed anything to their workers, especially the nature of the cargo they were carrying. You see, according to the regulations of the Republic, cargo ships could not have sentient passengers or workers on board, only droids. This is referenced in the captain's conversation with Yord when he and his Padawan board the ship. But for really important cargo, they subverted these rules in secret. The Neimoidian even tells his colleague how important their cargo is, that the workers are disposable, but what they're carrying isn't. What if this cargo is something the more recent episodes have revealed? Cortosis. Let me explain. In Cloak of Deception, which is now a Legends book, there were other non-Neimoidian species and sentients who did their dirty work and who worked menial jobs on their ships. We saw Grans, Rhodians, and in the case of the Acolytes, humans. But the Trade Federation and general Neimoidians never trusted these sentients with very specific secrets, especially the nature of their cargo. At the start of the Acolyte, Osha and her friend, who was wondering where she was the night before, were not in the know of what the Neimoidians were carrying on board. In the case of the Book of Cloak of Deception, they transported very rare substances, like Orium. Is it possible, given the Trade Federation's long history with working for the Sith, even before the Phantom Menace, is it possible they were carrying Cortosis ore? And this ties into how Qimir knew that Yord was trying to turn Osha in, which he mentions in episode 6. In the same way, there is a dark, ironic foreshadowing to the way Cassian Andor was helping to build the Death Star. Was Osha, by helping the Neimoidians, also foreshadowing her own fate, putting on a helmet by the same substance she helped to transport, inadvertently and without her knowing? Imagine if the Neimoidians were carrying the ore on behalf of the Sith, and is it going to come back at the end of the show? Could you imagine if it says, the property of Damask Holdings, which of course connects to Darth Plagueis? What I'm saying is, there might be an overarching connection, because at the moment, the Neimoidians seem nothing more than just fan service. But what if their purpose connects to the bigger bad of the entire series, which is going to be in the final episode next Tuesday, after episode 7, which is a flashback? Just some food for thought. I wanted to share this with you and get your feedback. And by the way, Cloak of Deception is a fantastic novel I recommend to any fan of the pre-episode 1 time period and the prequel trilogy. It's a great world-building novel with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and as I say, you do learn quite a lot about the inner workings of the Trade Federation and bizarre personalities of the Neimoidians, the way they engaged in dodgy business. Missing funds? Can't be our fault. They're funny, they're hilarious. But we also have some major Acolyte news. Yesterday we talked about the rumored titles for the final 2 episodes, and they've now been confirmed. Next Tuesday, the finale episode 8 is now confirmed to be called Doom. But now we have the runtimes and a brand new tease from 2 actors on the show. The final 2 episodes are 43 minutes in length. This is on the higher end of things for this series, considering some episodes have come in as short as 32 minutes. And in a brand new interview with Amandla Stenberg and Manny Jacinto, they spoke about how the final episode is going to be, quote, jaw-dropping, with things you just didn't see coming. Amandla states that in Leslye Headland fashion, it's jam-packed. A lot happens. Some things out of left field. Are they talking about an appearance from a certain someone? In either case, they do think fans are going to be taken aback. And Manny says they're nothing like the first few episodes. We're going into 7 and 8 expecting them to continue the same formula, but they're not. Apparently the game is about to change. Manny says a lot more jaws to drop. And with a name like Doom, that's going to make some Acolyte fans very nervous. 2 episodes over 40 minutes, it's about to all unfold. In other Acolyte news, we need to talk about how the show is performing, conflicting data and various reports over the performance of the Disney Plus Leslye Headland show. Those who are enjoying the series are very much loving it, and every week I've dedicated one video to discussing viewership and how it compares to other streaming series. Well, today we carry on. On the one hand, The Acolyte is the 5th most popular trending show on Disney Plus, with numbers demonstrating, despite the backlash, it's a pretty big hit. Analytics firm Real Good, which monitors viewing trends across the US, has provided an analysis which has shown in the first 14 days The Acolyte is the 2nd most successful in terms of engagement, which is social media, as well as streaming, outperforming the average top 100 show, only coming second to Obi-Wan Kenobi. But, and it is a pretty big but, other data companies' metrics show The Acolyte has seen a viewership drop for a 3rd week in a row, falling out of the top 10 most popular series. It was 6th, then 9th, and now it's fallen off the list. This comes from Variety via Luminate, and the data isn't too surprising when you look at the nitty-gritty and what they were measuring. The positive data shown by Real Good was skewed by the fact social media engagement is not a good indicative metric to show the success of viewership, because Star Wars fans very vocal online, and it isn't representative of the wider audience. Within the Star Wars online spaces, which are pretty limited, every show which has come out has been discussed in depth, and the data was showing engagement, and that was only for the first 14 days. The show went on to lose viewership every week afterwards, but what I think it does demonstrate is an apathy. We're not talking about diehard fans who either love the series or even like to talk about it, but the general audience, who isn't necessarily tweeting about the show every day. In larger amounts, after the 2nd week, so after the 3rd episode, they seem to have tuned out in larger amounts. And we can all speculate the reasons, speculate on specific criticisms, we've already done that ad nauseum, but the data for this series has been fascinating to analyse episode to episode. I am hopeful for the last 2 episodes. I think this interview with Amandla Stenberg has given me a renewed sense of the series does know where it's kind of going. They are going to try and wrap things up, even though they have left some things a bit late, and the overall direction has been a bit strange at times, inconsistent, and I don't want to ramble on about the writing, some creative decisions. I'm along for the ride for the last 2, and I guess just hoping for the best. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you always.